The clip you're about to watch is a conversation between William Lane Craig and Ben Shapiro yet again. And in this part, they're talking about this question. Is religion just a utility? Is it just good for society? Does it just make people act morally? Or is there actually a lot more going on here? They end up discussing Jordan Peterson and a number of other interesting topics. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in.
One of the things that's been fascinating to watch is people broadly accepting the efficacy of the precepts of religion without accepting the underlying truth of religion. So here I would point to my friend Jordan Peterson, who talks a lot about the practices of basically what are religious practices, the idea of make your room, do the moral thing, duty. But he doesn't talk in specifically religious terms. He speaks in Jungian terms. He talks about the idea of deeper precepts that are embedded in myth, which is really embedded in the human psyche. He doesn't make the kind of truth of religion argument. He instead makes the, if you want to get ahead, you're going to have to do this stuff argument. If you want to be happy, you're going to have to do this stuff argument. And that has tremendous cultural appeal. Do you think that that is beneficial? Do you think that that is enough? How far do you think that goes?
I think it's beneficial, but it's not enough. When I had a dialogue in Toronto last year with Jordan Peterson, rather than attack his position, what I tried to do was to be invitational and say, look, you and I both affirm the objectivity of moral values and meaning in life. I want to offer you something. I want to offer you a grounding for those values that we both hold dear. Because for him, as you say, Ben, they're just sort of floating in the air. They don't have any metaphysical ground in his worldview. So he's got the right values and meaning by and large, but he has no basis for them. And I'm still hopeful that he will come to embrace God as an objective, metaphysical reality who will provide a basis for those values and meaning in life.
I mean, one of the things that I've found really fascinating is, as I say, so many people are embracing fundamental principles of religion, and even the sort of quasi-pantheistic idea, but the religious idea nonetheless, that there is a moving force behind the universe or implicit in the universe. And yet, the minute you say God, people tend to run for the hills because they immediately identify their boring Sunday school class. So how exactly do we bridge that gap for folks who may have been alienated from religion by a sort of simplistic view of religion that they got growing up? How do you re-educate people in the precepts of religion?
Well, as you probably noticed in talking with me, Ben, I don't lead with the Bible. I lead with philosophical arguments, beginning very generally. There's a creator of the cosmos. There's a designer of the universe. There is an absolute moral good, which furnishes a basis for moral values and duties. And then I begin to ask, well, who is Jesus of Nazareth? What did he claim? Why should we believe what he said? And then finally, and ultimately, I'll try to make the personal application and say, what difference could this make in your life? And sometimes I'll share then my story personally of how I, raised in an unbelieving family, came to believe in Christ at the age of 16 and had my life completely upended and turned around. And so by beginning philosophically, I think you can lead into then a more religious and personal faith that people will feel comfortable with.
I have a few very quick contributions that I want to make. Number one is the point that religion isn't just a utility. It's not just something that's good for society. Number two, religion is actually not good or bad. It's actually neutral. It really depends on what religious practices are being implemented. You know, I'm sure you can think of examples of cannibalistic religions, etc., that actually lead to terrible outcomes. So religion is neutral. It has to be rooted in the truth. Number three, religion actually isn't enough. Neither is reason. What we actually need is revelation of who God is. I'm going to turn really quick here to the book of John, chapter 1, because you couldn't say it any more beautifully. Let me go ahead and read this here. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. And this is the creme de la creme right here. This is the big enchilada, verse 14. The Word became flesh and made its dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. This is really the key point, is that the Word became flesh. The abstract notion of God has made himself known to us. God has walked among us. We can call God by a name, not just the Spirit in the sky, but we can call God by a name. He entered history. He wrote himself into our story as if Shakespeare wrote himself into Hamlet. God dwelt among us. One of the names that he was given was Emmanuel, which means God with us. So, in short, religion's not enough. It's not just about values. Again, we need a revelation of who God is. And you'll see it right here in John chapter 1. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe, like, all the things, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, bye.